All right, let's unpack this.
Okay.
We're doing a deep dive today into the world of project management documents. Specifically, we're looking at the ones mentioned in Table 1 to 6 of the Process Group's practice guide.
Okay.
It's a pretty massive list, 33 in total.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate checklist
Okay.
to keeping your project on track.
What I find intriguing about this list is that it
Yeah.
goes beyond like the typical, project charter and schedule and really sheds light on all those supporting documents that often get overlooked,
Right.
but are actually super crucial to project success.
So we're not going to get bogged down with theory or anything like that. We're going to take a practical approach,
Right.
unpack each document, explore its purpose,
Okay.
and really discuss how it can help you avoid
Yeah.
common project pitfalls.
Sounds good.
So are you ready to get organized?
Absolutely. Let's dive in. How about we start with something called
Yeah.
activity attributes?
Okay.
Now, this isn't actually a standalone document.
Okay.
It's more like essential information that's attached to each activity in your
Okay.
project plan.
Gotcha.
Think of it as a detailed profile for each task,
Okay.
outlining everything from, who's responsible to what resources are needed.
So it's like the DNA of each task, making
Precisely.
sure everyone's on the same page from the get-go.
Exactly. And the PMB iGuide, agilepg.pdf, it mentions that activity attributes, they get updated, as things change, like to reflect things
Right.
like resource requirements and schedule changes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And without this level of detail, you're really setting yourself up for confusion and delays down the line.
Speaking of potential derailments,
Yeah.
let's talk about the assumption log.
Ah, yes, the assumption log.
I like that name.
This is where you basically document all those things you're assuming to be true
Okay.
for your project to succeed. Things like, let's say, vendor timelines, regulatory approvals, even the availability of key team members.
Interesting.
Right.
So it's like a reality check, forcing you to acknowledge those best-case scenarios that
Yeah.
might not actually pan out.
Exactly. And if those assumptions turn out to be a little too optimistic,
Yeah.
having them documented
Right.
really helps you adapt and
Right.
adjust your plans
All
more
right.
effectively.
That makes sense.
Which kind of brings us to the change log.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is where we track all the inevitable curveballs that come our way.
Precisely. The change log meticulously tracks every single change request,
Hmm?
whether it's a tweak to the scope, a shift in the timeline, or a change in resources. And it documents the rationale behind each change,
Right.
who approved it,
Okay.
and how it impacts the project as a whole.
I can see how that would be
Yeah.
incredibly valuable,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with like multiple stakeholders
Right.
and just a constantly evolving project landscape.
Right. It prevents those, he said, she said situations later on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It also helps you understand, like, the overall impact of
Yeah.
those changes on the budget and the timeline,
Right.
so you can make more informed decisions.
Okay, so let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk
Okay.
about a document that
Okay.
sounds deceptively simple,
Okay.
the checklist.
Yeah, don't be fooled by its simplicity.
Okay.
A well-crafted checklist can be a really powerful tool for ensuring consistency and preventing errors.
Yeah.
The Agile Practice Guide even highlights, like, checklist analysis of
Yeah.
a technique for systematically reviewing materials for accuracy and completeness.
So it's not just about remembering to pack your toothbrush before a trip.
Right, exactly.
This is about like embedding quality control into every step of the project.
Precisely. Imagine you're launching like a new product.
Okay.
A checklist can ensure that you've completed
Right.
all the necessary marketing materials, legal reviews, and technical checks
Yeah.
before you hit that go live button.
That's a good example.
It's all about minimizing risk
Right.
and maximizing your chances of success.
Okay, now let's get down to the nitty-gritty
Right.
of project finances
Okay.
with cost estimates.
This is where we, put a price tag on our project dreams, factoring in everything from resource costs to material expenses to vendor bids.
Right, right.
Both the PMBOK and Agile guides actually delve into various techniques for creating these accurate cost estimates.
I imagine this document could be a bit of a moving target,
Yeah, that's true.
especially in the early stages of a project when things are still being defined.
For sure. But having a clear understanding of the potential costs, even if they're just estimates, is super important
You're right.
for securing funding and making informed decisions about the project's scope.
That makes sense.
You don't want to run out of runway before you even get off the ground,
Right. Good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of timelines, let's talk about duration estimates.
All right.
This is where we kind of try to predict
Yeah.
how long each activity will actually take.
Right. And it's not just about,
Right.
throwing darts at a calendar. It's
Yeah.
about Using historical data,
Hmm.
expert judgment,
Right.
and your understanding of each task's complexity
Okay.
to create these realistic time frames.
So it sounds like this document is closely tied to the schedule,
Right.
which we'll discuss later on.
Yeah.
But I can see how getting those
Right.
duration estimates right from the start can prevent a
Yeah.
lot of headaches down the road.
For sure. No one likes a delayed project.
Nope, nobody likes that.
Yeah.
Okay, so even with the best planning,
Hmm.
every project encounters its share of hiccups.
That's true.
That's where the issue log comes in handy.
Yeah, the issue log.
So this is where we document
Yeah.
all those unexpected challenges that just
Mhm.
pop up along the way.
Exactly. Think of it as your project's troubleshooting guide.
Okay,
It helps you keep track of each issue, its potential impact,
right?
who's responsible for resolving it, and the
Okay.
steps being taken to address it.
So it sounds like a way to stay organized
Yeah,
amidst the chaos
for sure.
and ensuring that no problem falls through the cracks.
Precisely.
Okay, and speaking of learning from our experiences,
Yeah.
let's talk about the lessons learned register.
The wisdom of past projects.
Right.
This is where we document, what worked well, what didn't go as planned, and what we can do better next time.
Exactly, yeah.
The Agile Practice Guide is actually really passionate about this document, emphasizing its role in continuous improvement.
Okay.
It's all about capturing those valuable insights,
Yeah.
both positive and negative, so we can make more informed decisions in the future.
So it sounds like a gold mine of knowledge
For sure.
that can help us avoid repeating past mistakes
Yeah,
and really leverage those hard-earned lessons.
absolutely.
Okay, so to keep everyone focused and motivated,
Yeah.
we have the milestone list.
Yes, those checkpoints along the way that
Right.
mark significant progress.
I can see how celebrating those milestones
Yeah.
could really boost team morale
For sure.
and keep everyone aligned on the big picture.
Precisely. It's like breaking down
Yeah.
a marathon into smaller, more manageable segments.
Right.
Each milestone represents like a tangible achievement,
Right.
providing a sense of accomplishment and momentum.
So we've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah, we have.
And it's pretty clear that effective communication is key
Absolutely.
to keeping a project on track.
Hmm.
Which brings us to project communications.
Okay.
Now, this isn't really a single document.
Right.
This encompasses all those
Right.
reports, presentations, emails, and meetings
Yeah.
that really keep everyone in the loop.
It's not just about,
Right.
the quantity of communication. It's about the quality and the effectiveness.
Right.
And the Agile Practice Guide, it actually provides a great breakdown
Yeah.
of communication methods and models,
Hmm.
emphasizing that you have to tailor your approach,
Yeah.
to different audiences and stakeholders.
So I imagine that clear and concise communication
Yeah,
can help prevent a lot of misunderstandings and conflicts down the line.
absolutely. It's about making sure that everyone is on the same page, understands their roles and
Yeah.
responsibilities, and feels heard and valued.
That makes sense.
Without effective communication, even the most meticulously planned project can quickly unravel.
Okay, let's get a little visual now
Okay.
with project schedule network diagrams.
Right.
These are those diagrams that map out the dependencies between project activities, showing how everything fits together.
Right. And they help you visualize the critical path,
Okay.
which is the longest sequence of tasks,
Ah.
that determines the project's overall duration. It's like having an aerial view of your project.
Okay.
You can identify potential bottlenecks
Right.
and really optimize the flow of work.
It sounds like a powerful tool for understanding the
Yeah.
interconnectedness of tasks and making sure everything is sequenced correctly.
Exactly. No one wants to be waiting around for a missing piece of the puzzle.
Nope. No one wants to be doing that.
Exactly.
Okay, and speaking of roles and responsibilities,
Hmm.
let's touch upon project team assignments.
Okay.
This document clarifies,
Right.
who's doing what,
Yeah.
ensuring everyone understands their contribution to the project.
It's like having a clear playbook,
Okay.
for the team, outlining each player's position and responsibilities.
Okay, so it sounds like a way to create clarity and accountability, minimizing confusion, and empowering team members
For sure.
to really take ownership of their tasks.
Precisely.
Now let's move on to quality control measurements.
All right.
This is where we kind of define
Yeah.
those specific metrics that we'll use to assess the quality of our project deliverables.
So it's about setting those standards and benchmarks up front.
Exactly.
Making sure everyone's on the same page about
Right.
what good work looks like.
And these metrics can be like
Yeah.
quantitative, like defect rates or test scores, or
Right.
qualitative, like user feedback or expert reviews.
Exactly. What matters is that they're clearly defined,
Right.
measurable, and aligned with stakeholder expectations.
And once we have those measurements in place, quality reports come into play.
Ah, yes, the quality reports.
These reports provide a snapshot
Yeah,
of how the project is performing against those quality standards.
precisely. It's like a report card
Yeah.
for your project's quality,
Right.
highlighting areas where you're doing well
Right.
and areas where there might be some room for improvement.
So the goal is not just to, like, find flaws,
Right.
but to actually identify opportunities
Mm,
for continuous improvement and
exactly.
ensure that you're delivering
Yeah,
a high-quality product or service.
for sure.
Okay, let's move to the heart of the project,
All right.
requirements documentation.
Okay.
This is where we capture all those essential details
Mm.
about what the project needs to achieve.
It's like a blueprint for your project,
Okay.
outlining all those, functional and non-functional requirements.
So clear, concise, and comprehensive requirements are
Mm,
the foundation of a successful project.
absolutely.
But with complex projects, it's easy to lose track of
All
how
right.
those requirements translate into specific deliverables.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where the requirements traceability matrix comes in.
Ah, yes, the requirements traceability matrix.
That's a mouthful.
This matrix basically connects the dots between
Okay.
each requirement and the specific deliverables that fulfill it.
Okay.
It helps ensure you're not missing,
Yeah.
any critical functionalities
Right.
and that every requirement is accounted for.
Okay. So it's like a detective's evidence board
Mm,
linking clues to suspense specs?
I like that analogy, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about resources now.
All right.
Resource breakdown structure.
Okay.
This is where we categorize and organize
Yeah.
all the resources that we'll need
Mm-hmm.
for the project.
Everything from people to equipment to materials.
Right. All of it.
And the Agile Practice Guide,
Mm.
it really dives deep into this concept,
Okay.
emphasizing the importance of like a hierarchical structure
Uh-huh.
that breaks down these resources into manageable categories.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It sounds like a way to avoid
Mm,
those last-minute scrambles for missing materials or
right.
that realization that, oh, we don't actually have the right expertise on our team.
Exactly. And to make sure
Yeah.
that those resources are actually available when you need them.
Right.
You have resource calendars.
Ah, this is where we factor in like
Mhm.
vacations, holidays, and other
Yeah.
commitments, right?
Exactly. To get a realistic view
Okay.
of when people and those resources are actually available.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, final one for this section.
Okay.
Resource requirements.
All right.
This is where we specify
Yeah.
exactly what types and quantities
Mm.
of resources we need for each activity.
It's like a shopping list
Okay.
for your project,
Right.
detailing everything from the number of developers needed to the amount of like concrete required for a construction project.
So having this information up front helps you plan,
Hmm.
your procurement strategy,
Yeah.
negotiate with vendors,
Sure.
and ensure that you have the right resources at the right time
Absolutely.
to keep the project moving forward.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground.
We've talked about everything from defining tasks
Right.
to managing resources to tracking changes.
Right.
What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how all of these documents,
Hmm.
while often overlooked,
Yeah,
can actually prevent a lot of
Oh, yeah.
common project management headaches.
absolutely. It's like having a toolkit
Yeah,
for proactively addressing those challenges before they become major problems.
I agree completely. And it really highlights the importance of not just creating these documents,
Mhm.
but actually using them
Yeah,
actively throughout the project lifecycle.
absolutely, for sure.
But we'll dive into that more later on.
Sounds good.
But for now, let's take a breather,
Okay.
come back refreshed,
Okay.
and then we'll tackle the rest of these
Right.
central project documents.
Sounds good. Okay, so ready to jump back in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so before we took that little break, we
Yeah.
were discussing the importance of proactive project management.
Right.
Now we're moving into territory that often keeps project managers up at night.
Oh boy.
Risks.
Uh-oh.
And the document that helps us tackle those risks head on
Yeah.
is the risk register.
This sounds like a big one.
It can be, yeah.
I mean, unexpected challenges
Right.
can really pop up at any moment.
Exactly. The risk register is where we document each potential risk,
Okay.
its likelihood of occurring,
Right.
its potential impact on the project, and most importantly, our plan to
Mhm.
either mitigate it or, in some cases, actually exploit it.
Interesting.
Both the PMBO and the agilpg.pdf
Okay.
offer some great insights into
Uh-huh.
this whole process.
So it's not just about identifying those what-if scenarios.
Right.
It's about having a game plan in place
Exactly.
to actually address them if they do arise.
Precisely. A well-maintained risk register
Okay?
really helps you shift from a reactive mode to a more proactive one.
Right.
It's about anticipating challenges,
Okay.
assessing their potential impact,
Yep.
and developing strategies to either minimize those negative effects
Right.
or in some cases, leverage them to
Okay.
your advantage.
So it sounds like a powerful tool
It is, yeah.
for navigating uncertainty
Mm-hmm.
and keeping a project on course,
For sure.
even when, unexpected storms brew.
Exactly. And to keep stakeholders informed about this whole thing,
Okay.
there's the risk report.
Oh, okay.
This document provides like a summarized view
Okay.
of the project's risk profile, highlighting any significant risks
Okay.
that require, immediate attention.
So it's like a risk dashboard,
Exactly.
giving stakeholders a clear picture of the potential challenges and the strategies in place.
Precisely. Transparency and communication are key
Right.
to effective risk management.
Okay, now let's shift our focus to project timeline with schedule data.
Yes, the heartbeat of the project.
Right.
Schedule data encompasses all the details
Okay.
about activity durations, dependencies between tasks,
Uh-huh.
planned start and finish dates,
Right.
and any updates
Right.
or changes to the schedule as the project progresses.
So I can see how this data would be the foundation
It is,
for
yeah.
effective schedule management,
For sure.
allowing project managers to track progress, identify potential delays, and keep everything moving according to plan.
Exactly. And building on that,
Okay.
we have schedule forecasts, which involve using that scheduled data to predict future milestones and potential delays.
So it's like having a crystal ball
Right.
that helps you anticipate those potential roadblocks and adjust course accordingly.
Precisely. Accurate schedule forecasts empower project managers
Okay.
to proactively manage expectations, communicate potential delays to stakeholders, and explore options for getting the project back on track.
Now, let's step outside the internal team a bit and talk about working with external partners.
All right.
So, seller proposals
Yeah.
outline the proposed solutions and pricing from potential vendors or contractors.
Exactly. It's like gathering bids, from different contractors before starting a home renovation project.
Yeah, that's a good example.
These proposals allow you to compare different options, assess their capabilities, and select the partner that best aligns with your needs and budget.
So I imagine this is particularly important.
It is, yeah.
When you're outsourcing specialized services or procuring materials that you just don't have in-house.
Absolutely. And to ensure a fair and transparent evaluation process, we have the source selection criteria.
So this is where we define the specific criteria that we'll use to evaluate and select those vendors or contractors.
Precisely. And it ensures that you're not just picking like the cheapest option, but the one that truly fits the project's needs.
Okay, and now let's talk about those all-important stakeholders.
Okay.
The individuals or groups who have a vested interest in the project's outcome.
Right.
And the document that helps us understand and manage those stakeholders is the stakeholder register.
Stakeholder register, exactly.
Both the PMB and the AgilePG.pdf emphasize the importance of stakeholder engagement.
For sure.
And this register profiles each stakeholder outlining their interests, expectations level of influence, and preferred communication methods. So it sounds like a really valuable tool.
It is, yeah.
For tailoring your communication and engagement strategies to make sure each stakeholder feels heard and valued.
Absolutely. Effective stakeholder management is all about building relationships, understanding perspectives, and proactively addressing concerns.
Okay.
It can really make the difference between a project that enjoys, broad support and one that faces constant roadblocks.
Now, to really clarify the scope of work with specific vendors or contractors, there's the statement of work.
Yes, the statement of work.
Often referred to as the SO.
Or SO, yep.
A detailed SO leaves no room for ambiguity.
Right, exactly.
It outlines those specific deliverables, timelines, acceptance criteria, payment terms, and reporting requirements.
It covers it all.
So it's kind of like a contract.
Yeah.
But more detailed and really focused on those specific tasks and outcomes.
Precisely. A clear SO helps prevent misunderstanding, ensures everyone's on the same page, and minimizes the potential for like disputes down the road.
Okay, so let's move on to team dynamics now.
All right.
Team charter. This sets the ground rules for how the team will function.
Exactly. It outlines communication protocols, decision-making processes, conflict resolution strategies, and even team values.
So it's kind of like the team's constitution.
I like that.
Establishing those norms and expectations from the get-go.
For sure. And to assess how well the team's functioning and identify areas for improvement, there's team performance assessments.
So this is where we evaluate the team's effectiveness, both individually and collectively.
Precisely. These assessments can include individual performance reviews, feedback sessions, and even observations of team dynamics during, meetings or work sessions.
So it sounds like a way to promote continuous improvement.
For sure.
Address any issues before they escalate.
Right.
And celebrate those team wins.
Absolutely. Okay, so now let's talk about those deliverables, the tangible outputs of the project, and the documents that help us ensure the quality of those deliverables are the test and evaluation documents.
So this is where we outline our plans for testing, evaluating, and ultimately signing off on those deliverables.
Precisely. These documents specify, the types of tests, test cases, acceptance criteria, and reporting mechanisms that we'll use to ensure those deliverables meet the requirements and those quality standards.
So it's like a crucial step.
It is,
in making sure that we're delivering what we promised, that it meets the stakeholders' needs, and that it actually functions as intended.
Exactly. Thorough testing and evaluation are essential for delivering a successful project, minimizing rework, and building reputation for quality.
Okay, we're down to our last couple of documents now.
All right, let's do it.
Work breakdown structure, or WBS.
But WBS.
This is one we hear about a lot
sure.
in project management circles.
Rightly so. The WBS is like the foundation of a well-structured project.
Okay.
It's a hierarchical breakdown of all the work that needs to be done, decomposed into smaller, more manageable work packages.
Okay.
And both the PMBO and AgilePG.pdf, they dive deep into this concept, highlighting its importance for planning, delegating, and tracking progress.
So I can see how this would help prevent, that feeling of being overwhelmed
for sure.
by the sheer scope of a project.
Right.
It's about breaking it down into those bite-sized pieces that are easier to, digest and manage.
A well-defined WBF provides clarity, promotes accountability, and facilitates effective communication.
All right, last but not least, work performance data.
Work performance data, all right.
This is where we track the actual progress and performance of the project.
Exactly. This data reflects the actual work completed, the resources utilized, and any variances from the original plan.
So it's like the project's report card.
Exactly.
Providing valuable insights into what's working well and where adjustments might be needed.
It's all about using data to drive continuous improvement and navigate the inevitable complexities of project execution.
Wow. So we have covered a lot of ground today.
We've explored 33 essential project management documents, each with its own unique role in contributing to project success.
So what are your final thoughts as we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
Well, it's been fascinating to see how these documents, often perceived as, administrative burdens, actually provide the structure, the clarity, the insights that empower project teams to navigate complexity, manage risks, and deliver exceptional results.
It's a good reminder that effective project management isn't about blindly following processes. But about leveraging the right tools and techniques to achieve our goals.
For sure.
I agree completely. It's about using these documents strategically, adapting them to the unique needs of each project, and really embracing them as allies in our quest for project management excellence.
I like that. That's a good way to put it.
So we've made it, huh? We've journeyed through this mountain of project management documents.
We have. We've explored their purpose and really how they can, help you avoid those common pitfalls.
Exactly. But as we wrap up here, it's important to remember that these documents aren't just like static forms. They actually should adapt and evolve throughout the project lifecycle.
For sure. A project in its early stages will have, different documentation needs than one that's nearing completion.
So early on, documents like the assumption log and the risk register, those are crucial for identifying potential challenges and uncertainties.
Exactly. You laying the groundwork for a really solid plan, anticipating those what-ifs that could derail things later on.
And then as the project progresses, documents like the change log and the issue log, those become increasingly important for, tracking progress, managing those changes and resolving issues.
So you're shifting from, a more proactive to a reactive mode, dealing with the realities of execution.
And then as you move towards that completion phase, documents like the quality reports and the test and evaluation documents, those take center stage.
Right.
Making sure you're delivering a high-quality product or service.
For sure, making sure it meets those stakeholder expectations.
So each document has its moment in the spotlight.
It does, yeah.
Depending on where you are in the project lifecycle.
Yeah, exactly. Now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something that's often overlooked.
Okay.
The importance of documentation for knowledge transfer and continuous improvement.
So it's not just about managing the current project.
Right, exactly.
It's about learning from it to improve future ones.
Documents like the Lessons Learned Register and project archives, those are invaluable for capturing those insights, the good and the bad.
The Lessons Learned Register, that's like a treasure trove of wisdom, right?
It is.
It can help future teams avoid repeating those past mistakes.
And the project archives, which contain, all those final project documents, they provide a historical record that can be referenced for, future projects or audits.
So it's not just about documenting for the sake of documenting?
No, not at all.
It's about really building a knowledge base that benefits the entire organization.
Precisely. Now, I have a practical challenge for our listeners.
Okay, I like it.
Think about your current or, upcoming projects.
Right.
Are there any documents that you've been, overlooking?
That's a good question.
Or underutilizing?
It's easy to get, caught up in the day-to-day tasks and forget about the bigger picture.
So take a moment to really reflect on those 33 documents that we discussed.
Right.
Could any of them, help you enhance your project's clarity, efficiency, or success?
Maybe there's a document that could help you communicate more effectively with your stakeholders, or one that could help you streamline that risk management process.
Remember, these documents, they're tools, not burdens.
Right.
They're designed to support you, not bog you down.
It's about finding that balance between documentation and action. Making sure that the paperwork actually serves a purpose and adds value to the project.
So go forth, embrace those project management documents.
I like it.
And really let them guide you on your journey to project management excellence.
That's a great note to end on.
All right.
We hope this deep dive has been helpful and given you some valuable insights and tactical tips
for sure
that you can apply to your own projects.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.